It's August 29th, 2025. Today we went down to the prosecutor's office in Tuscarawas County against my new husband's stepchildren that are trying to steal everything from him. As if I don't have enough problems. I joked around with him. I said you already knew about my stalkers. My ex-husband's drug addict people yelling stuff at me before we got married. You already knew about the drug dealers and the framing and all this other stuff before we got married. And the riffraff that show up and harass me. I said, you are not allowed to bring your own stalkers into our relationship. I have enough with mine. He started laughing. Yesterday I was in Walmart and some people were talking. Said, when Karen's out, she jokes around with her husband and she's silly. She said she had married her best friend. It's like they're little kids joking around. I don't have to be big and tough with him. I don't have to be strong. I don't have to hold horror in. And to the point that every cell in my body wants to scream. I don't have to act that way with him. I get to relax, joke around, and be silly. And make him laugh. His second wife verbally abused him horribly. She only made love to him long enough to marry him, get her hooks into him, and then told him he'd never touch her again. Like over 15 years. And then, where he's a severe diabetic, made him where he has to have dairy products and healthy foods. Let him do without because she wanted cigarettes. And let his sugar go any which way. And where his farm, his dad's farm, he has. That's why she married him. He was a truck driver, made big money, had a farm that was paid off. That's why she married him. She had 3 kids she didn't want to raise on her own. She put her hooks into him. Told him when he dies, where some oil companies came in the area, set up some oil wells around his property, because he owed so much land, he got big settlements. She demanded that money. Big chunks of it went to her kids. Not his. Not his biological kids, just his stepchildren. Her children only. She took 50 grand and gave each of them to him. To them. Nothing for her children. For his children. But only hers. And where she found out she was dying from COPD, she set it up in his will that half his property would go to her son, half his farm equipment. The mineral rights would go to her favorite grandchild. His children, only his son would only get part of his property because it was his son. His daughters would get nothing. And that way her children and grandchild would be taken care of. And kept giving her daughters and her son his money as it came in. They stole way over $200,000 from him. After she died, they came over and got thousands of dollars repeatedly, yelling, "My dead mama," screaming at him. They haven't been back to that woman's grave in 2 years. I had to go with Carl to pick out her headstone and help pay for it. Not them. They didn't care about that woman. They're as greedy as their mother. Come over, and where the big checks were slowing down because they were just for putting it in there. demanding $1,200, $1,300 for diet shots, $700 for washers that they never bought. Hmm? One that Deb, his one daughter, her husband quit working way over a year and a half ago. Said his back hurt. They offered to put a nerve block in it. He's not ready for that. He can sit and play video games while she goes out and work. King got thousands and thousands of dollars off of him. Never paid him back. Cut her off in May last year. Saying, he didn't have it. They didn't have him back over. By September, she called up screaming at him, I need money and I need it now. Screaming at him. He handed her $4,000. Is that all? Then screamed at him about her dead mama till he cried. Throwing his dead wife. We had just got engaged. And how dare you even think of liking her? They think they're entitled to steal from him. And they are only his stepchildren. They're not his biological children. He owes them nothing. He had told his attorney, he was even afraid of his oldest son, that he had threatened while his second wife was dying to take him out to Youngstown, make him sign over his farm, his money, his Social Security, his checking accounts, everything over to him. And he was going to leave him there. She said, don't you get in that car and don't you sign anything. He said, trust me, I'm not. He was trying to pull a fast one and rob me blind. She said, turn him over to the sheriffs and let the sheriffs take care of him. He cannot even threaten you that. They have no rights to any of your land, any of your money, any of anything. Who you choose to spend your money on is nobody's business but yours. Nor do they have the right to threaten to take it away from you. Ever. Ever. And what he is doing is illegal. Told her several times. And then about Brenda's kids stealing from him. She said, you tell him the ATM is turned off. He said, there is no more. They've taken it all. In October, they came over last year. Okay? Looked around. He sat in that Bob and his girlfriend. That's almost 18 years older than him. She is as old as I am. November, where he had got another $6,000 from Carl. Now he's already came and got all kinds of money out of him. Carl wanted some of it back. He went back over. He said, I'd like a payment. He called him a fucking tight bastard. He said, in there is supposed to be another well drilled down your property. He said, I haven't got anything. He's like, you liar. He called him up in September last year, said, I heard you redid the will. I want a copy of it. He said, I don't have it yet, you liar, and was screaming at him so bad you could hear him upstairs. He's made a mention to his attorney. He's scared of these people. He has a right to. They're trying to steal everything he's got in his very existence. They didn't come back over. Did they buy him a birthday card? Birthday gift? No. They only come around to rob him. Buy him a Christmas card? No. They didn't come back around till June. Had us meet him at Bob Evans. Said Dad needs more money. He said, I don't have it to give to her. Too bad, you'll give it to her. She's family and she needs it. This is the one her husband's sitting at home playing video games. He could go work at a desk job. He can sit and play video games. But he'd rather sit there and try to rob an elderly man of his money. And he said, I don't have it to give it to her. Too bad. And they started yelling at him. He told him, he said, I don't have it to give. Too bad, Joe, give it to her. He said, too bad I don't have it. And I told him what she did. And I said, that is all. Okay? We go to leave. Carl and I had got a new Jeep. Last year at this time, not a Jeep, a Bronco. Last year at this time, my old Jeep was acting up. We traded it in on a Nissan. Okay? Had nothing but trouble with it. Immediately, I had it back in. It was a brand new Nissan. Had it back in the repair shop. Transmission wasn't staying in gear. All this other stuff. And we were taking it back up there. Then I took it up there because the dashboard was blinking off and staying off. One time it smelled like it was burning. We kept taking it back up there. We'll let Nissan know what's going on. Well, that isn't fixing the problem. I'd be out driving, the whole dashboard go dark. Carl's like, how can you drive with no dashboard? I said, I'm fine. It'll be okay. It'll come back on. It's not okay. Yes, it is. And I said, well, I can baby it a few more months. No, you can't. We went to go through a car wash, and honestly, it had been like hysterical kind of thing that you would see in a comedy show. We go to pull in to this one car wash where it pulls you through. Didn't have a railing where your car won't get thrown. It's just on rollers. It wouldn't go into neutral, stuck in drive. And I went to tell the lady, I said, don't don't turn it on yet because it won't go in neutral. Okay. She pulls it forward. All the water start coming in the car. I'm getting the window up. We were both drenched. It was, if you were a bystander, it had been hilarious. We got through, and I had to fight the car because it was in drive and it wasn't a railing, and the car kept wanting to throw itself into the wall. We got out and we're both drenched, and Carl's like, "That's it. We're trading it in." He said, Karen, I'm scared with everything going on with this car and not going into gear. The dashboard's going off, and the heater seat came on without turning it on. It smells like it's burning, you said, that one time, and da 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 da. He said, I'm afraid I work midnights, that it'll break down in the middle of the night. You get stuck somewhere. He said, this car is not even safe. I had got bit by a dog. A year ago, and I got a settlement. I took $2,000 and traded in that Nissan on our Bronco. We haven't had any problems with it. It's so nice. We haven't had any problems. It's in both our names. We're married. Been married for 6 months. Been together over a year. We were friends for years. I even knew his late wife. Okay? And when she was dying, he come out and asked me to hug him and to hold him. He needed help. He was watching his wife die. He told me that for 6 years before she died, he knew she didn't love him anymore, and he couldn't leave her alone because she was dying. And he was a good enough man to stay with her till she died and took care of her. Okay? He said, I knew she didn't love me. And I knew she wanted nothing to do with me. And she was so cruel. But I couldn't leave her alone and let her die by herself. And while he's dealing with wiping her, changing her bedding, he'd see me pull in from work and he'd make a beeline outside. Will you just hold me? Will you hug me? Yeah. And I'd stand there and I'd talk to him and we became friends. Then after she passed, he was always outside when I was there, wanting to talk to me. And we became really good friends. I married my best friend. You know, they say on Google, when you marry your best friend, it's the best relationship because you stay yourself. And, you know, we have both been hurt so bad by people. We're good for each other. We get along, and some of the people work the case said, Karen jokes around like a little kid when she's out with him. All they do is joke and laugh. I don't have to be big and tough with him. I don't have, it infuriates me, these people threatening him and trying to take his money and his land. His stepson Bob, where his mom made him in his will sign half his farm over to him and half the farm equipment. He thinks he's going to get $500,000 worth of stuff. He's been out of the will for over 6 months. He doesn't know it. And none of her kids are getting a damn thing. They don't know it. And the well has run dry. And where the oil companies gave him all that big money years ago, they overpaid him. They take all his mineral rights until it's paid off. We have to pay off the debt where they stole his money because they overpaid him. That's how not funny this is. We, he wouldn't sleep upstairs because it was Brenda in his room, and I understand that. And he'd sleep down in the living room. When I moved in, he had ragged shoes. Well, they're stealing all his money. He had ragged shoes. Living on honey buns and noodles. And when he got cut at the farm, he didn't tell me. And he got sepsis real fast because he's a severe diabetic because he got sprayed with Agent Orange in the army. And I found him on the floor with a high fever, got him to the hospital, held his hand while they drained his arm. He tells everybody I've had 2 wives before Karen. And nobody's been as good to me as my Karen. My brother, he said, Carl is such a sweet man. My son Danny loves him to death. And so does his wife Jen and my grandchildren. And they find it disgusting what his stepchildren are doing. Disgusting. We started looking. He has to get up and go to the bathroom like 8 to 10 times at night at different nights. And he'd have to go downstairs or upstairs to the bathroom. So we started looking for a 1 level. Well, I found this pretty mobile home. It was beautiful. In a nice, quiet country area. We moved in here in July. And we had to wait for him to finish setting it up because it's brand new. It's quite pretty. It's so nice. You don't have nosy neighbors in your face of where'd you go, what'd you do. It's like none of your business. I just live here. Let alone that idiot in my old apartment bragging how he was in it with Dave and this whole drug scam. And then I found out through Leah, his one friend down the street, he's telling people that I hurt children and that the police won't say a word to me and that people should take it in their own hands and harm me and say and do things to me. He's trying to start a lynch mob where they threatened it in 18 and 19. They were trying to get people to hang me. Dave threatened that. Then in 19, they were trying to get people to beat me to death. They're trying to do death by proxy. If you actually hurt a child, the police and FBI would arrest you on the spot. See, that's where it's ridiculous. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about it. They just lie and lie. FBI agent John, the guy in my old apartment in Louisville, you need to arrest him. He wants you to show up. That man, I don't know who he is, but he thinks he's over you. And I'd like to know why. He didn't say a word for a year till Michelle told on him about the dirty doctor. Now think of this. March 27th, 25. I stayed up. I just felt like I needed to go through everything, and I did. March 27th, 25, I went through everything. Some guy was outside. I'm glad she went through everything. I told Michelle I never want to see her again. She confessed to me when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her and leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. And the reason she don't know who that doctor is from before, he's not one of hers. He works for them, and they had lied that he was one of her doctors, and she actually doesn't know who he is. That he had even went to Dave and asked Dave, why are you telling people that you were forced to marry her? We were married 33 years. In another week, I would have been celebrating my 40th anniversary. 40 years. See, being in an abusive relationship, I've grown so much from this case. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. When somebody is kidnapped or abused, you make yourself believe you are in love with that person. That's how you survive their abuse. The feelings are very real because you actually love that person with your own whole heart. And for some reason, you think you can change them. It's not their fault. They didn't mean it when they meant it, and it is their fault. You make up excuses that they love you and they really didn't mean it. Yes, they did, or they wouldn't have done it. Your feelings are real, and you should never deprive yourself of those real feelings. Because your feelings were honest and true. It was their evil intentions that they would have never harmed you. I loved him with all my heart. And they said people made fun of me because I loved somebody like that. Well, he hid a lot of it. Like Michelle next to us on Lennox, Karen, Dave's two different people. He's around you. He's Joe Christian. When you leave, he swears like a sailor. He comes over, drinks beer with Jerry, smokes. He is no Christian. Trust me, the way he talks and acts when you're not around. He was living two different lives. Running with the drug cartel and then acting like he was a Christian. When he was around me, instead of working all that overtime, he was running with drug dealers. That's why he was so paranoid about having a concealed carry and always having a gun on him. Because he was running with the drug cartel. And I didn't know it. Okay? That agent, now this is an agent that was dating Michelle, Dave's ex-girlfriend, on a Rouge. He got it out of Dave that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory. And that he would have free insurance to use. And he could get, that she'd have free insurance. The woman running all those medical bills, half my medical bills are Dave's girlfriends for 15 years. And he could give her extra money. And he'd even got it out of Vegas. The ones that were in there crying in Agent John's office that Strange called me a faker and it offended him 15 years ago, so they waited 15 years to kill me. Psychos. That it didn't even affect him. Her father killed their kid in a traffic accident. I wasn't even there. Didn't even affect him. Didn't concern him. It was 6 months later, but Strange made it up. They only said it so they could manipulate people into helping out. That man that dated Michelle needs a pay raise, a promotion, and a hug. And he said he was looking for the agent over my case, and he was going to tell him. Well, March 30th, 25, outside my apartment, the guy that lives in my old apartment started the dirty doctor scam. It's already debunked to the neighbors where that church is sending out emails for to ask people to show up and hurt me and to harass me. His religious group was one of the first ones there. And he was even in the office with that agent defrauding him. When, when he met with that agent, when that agent asked her who that doctor was. Hold on. I gotta tell Carl something. Hey, Carl. I'm on the phone. I'll be out in a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah, where he was with that, met with that agent in that office with them. He was part of the fraud scheme. When that agent asked her who that doctor was, she said she didn't even know who he was. He knew she was lying. Now, she already told an agent, they lied, he was one of my doctors, and I don't know who he is. She's demonked, and they're scattering. That doctor's supposed to have her tape the filthy, dirty statement. Well, Dave already told Danny on April 16th, 23. I heard him tell Gabe and Shay across the parking lot that he asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own who was beating his men in her home before Pete has her framed. Pete has her tape the filthy, dirty statement. Just some guy he hired, not a doctor. See what I mean? I never met him. It's just some sleazeball he hired. Okay? Well, April 17th, 25, Michelle Carl seen her in the parking lot of Sheets in Hartville in front of the FBI and police big SUV stop, but she says the same thing, how she confessed to that guy and the police had told her that that's some kind of agent. She's an informant. And how dumb were you to confess to them trying to kill me when they bashed in my head or leave me incompetent and it didn't work. And the reason I don't know who that doctor is, he's not one of mine. He works for them and they had lied. And that she really liked him. That's why she told him. Okay? And Carl seen her. Okay? April 24th, 25. Up in Summit Mall. The Texas group is up there. Carl seen him walking by. The Muslim men, the lady in hijabs, and even one speaking another language. Okay? One off in the distance, one of the guys from the case. You tell that guy Will up here that was to run a scam to join us, that it's all ruined. Because Michelle told on him that that doctor was not one of hers. He works for them and they had lied. You tell him that his scam is ruined. And we said to take care of her, and then they left threats on that little girl. That's why I did videos and telling her to get to the FBI office. She has information on him. It's gold to them. They could flip her and hide her. Get a hold of her, they'll kill her. Okay. May 25th, 25 in Hollister's. They are laughing about Bill from the Freemasons' big scam. Boy, did he run a big scam here. We're in Summit Mall. He had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine somebody being drugged up and told to say something like that? Had another guy videotape her in the shower washing herself. And can you imagine somebody taking a video of somebody washing themselves and photoshopping that in the other room? Then ran a contest off of it. Who could steal her money and scam everybody into helping out? We're cackling like it's funny. May 26, 25. Walmart 62. Florida cartel comes in. Who does Bill from the Freemasons think he is? I'd like to know that too. And heard they were making fun of this in Summit Mall of his dirty doctor not being one of hers works for them and they had lied. And that this whole thing is a scam from him. The cartel's tired of him. And that other cartel thinking that they can threaten Michelle for telling on them. They're not running it. We are. Do they want more? Michelle says she's really nice and had set how to take care of herself. She's out of this, and what we choose to do is none of her concern. May 30th, 25, the Louisville police are outside my apartment at 1 o'clock in the morning. They have those tapes. And a lady's with them. And she thought I was dumb and I didn't know surveillance laws. And how she thought she was going to trick me out of money. And they said that they got this, the investigators found the original case. The original case said my ex-husband hired 2 men on his own to do this to me. One said he was an attorney and made it legal. No, it don't. It makes it worse illegal. I know. The law is if attorney sets up button cameras in someone's home, they are to be disbarred and criminally charged. It is a felony invasion of privacy and cyberstalking. They go to jail anywhere from 7 to 15 years for those button cameras. Right to privacy over your home. And they said they found the surveillance of Walmart 62 where they said this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons. And the officer with her said she said something about a bill from the Freemasons. And then going back and forth. My car is bugged from the FBI and the police. And like the Starr County Sheriff said, we all know they opened an informant case with her, have us take turns watching her and document everything for the FBI every day. It's already documented. I was framed by the drug cartel, Officer Mark August of 23 on a Tuesday. About 1 o'clock in the afternoon, told the lady that it's documented, verified I was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in my home before they seen him. It's documented, verified. Some other woman was using my insurance, and it's documented and verified. It was a medication error that made me sick before. See, they didn't say allergic reaction. They said medication error. It's documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. It's documented fraud by my community health, 2002, by several doctors. When I went in, they were lying so bad. They said I had level 2 brain tumors and all this other stuff wrong with me. They're like, whoa, the only thing's wrong with you is your muscles locked up from all the surgeries. These doctors are known for lying falsely, diagnosing people, ripping them off, draining their insurance company like a checking account, and getting kickbacks from the drug companies, is sharing them with their associates and friends, doing the same thing, making people so sick to do unnecessary procedures. My God, they wanted to take part of my brain out. Thank God I went to them before I let them do it. And there was no tumors. They were just lying and making me that sick. And it was a medication making me sick. Went to Dr. Eli. He agreed. Put me on fentanyl patches. And over 9 months, I slowly got well. It's documented, proven fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. Because the only thing was wrong with me was my muscles locked up from all the surgeries. They caused all that and almost killed me. Caused seizures, heart attacks, massive body swelling, thyroid, adrenal gland shutdown. I almost died. They encouraged Dave and I to sue him for 2 years. They even said they'd go in court with us and support us and to call the state. And so they pulled their license. Strange pushed Danny to suicide before I could get strong enough. Dave said, I want to make sure you're strong enough to sit in a courtroom. I was planning on doing it at the first of the year. And he pushed Danny to suicide when he thought I was following Tim and Katie. September 18th, 24, 8:30 in the morning, I pull into my client's house in Akron. Investigator is talking to their neighbor. Said, we don't want you to say a word to her. That agent needs to get his facts straight before he puts his name on anything. It was a medication error that made her sick before. Why'd they wait 15 years? He said he'd went over and talked to him. They said when Strange thought she was following Tim and Katie, he ordered her to be killed. And if she didn't die, to have her destroyed and make sure she had got nothing. They planned this for 15 years before they did it. Nobody was allowed to say or do a word till Dave said he wanted a divorce. And it took Dave 15 years to say it. And they planned this for 15 years before they did it, how they were going to do it. Don't anybody say a word. Okay? August 4th, 25, they admitted that they used hypnotic drugs. And when they drugged me and told me to say it before, that's why I had a metal taste in my mouth I couldn't get out. August 5th, 25, in Dutch Valley Restaurant, some idiot girls come in. Some girl says some drug lord said he'd date me if me and my friends help harass her. And if he actually gets anything out of it, I could have it. And as if Agent John didn't know they were using hypnotic drugs when they drugged her and told her to say it before. That's why she don't remember. He was telling everybody he knew she was being drugged, being raped before it started. He knew they were framing her. He even let them torture her. Is he some kind of coward? See that guy in my old apartment? After he started his little hate crime, started telling all the neighbors, you need to be afraid she lives there. I'm a drugged up rape victim, human trafficking victim, almost murdered, almost died to save my family. And he's saying how he's part of all this and telling people they should be afraid of me. I'm not the one to be afraid of. He's like, we got to find somebody dumb enough to arrest her, stupid enough to do it. No other police department would dare touch her with that open FBI case. We all know she's in the witness protection program. She can't be processed. That agent would have to show up and get her out. The only way we can make sure he shows up is if we get someone dumb enough to arrest her. Seems like the only one that don't know about the case is Louisville. So we went to Louisville with all the scams, where we got our new car. And you know, after we turned in our Nissan, it came out on Google. 440,000 Nissan Rogues in different Nissans were recalled for the same manufacturer's default. And when it starts flashing like that, it can catch fire. It's a good thing we got rid of it. It wasn't just my car. It was all of them acting up like that. It was a major recall. And his mommy dearest was over there. That's a nice car. It's a really nice car. We thought if Melissa just showed up and said something about her, the police would take her car from her and give it to him. And she could drive it and make her make the payments. They said they don't steal people's money and assets. They just prosecute people. We didn't know we had to have evidence. And when we asked them to take her car from her, they said, what do you mean you want her car? And they turned everything back around on us. They realized they were just thieves. And then they tried every scam that was already debunked. Every scam. Then Leah, Carl's neighbor, said that he's making up that lie, telling people she hurts children. The police won't say a word to her. We need to take it in our own hands. People do things to her, say things to her. Do whatever you have to, because the police won't do their job. If you actually hurt a child, they arrest you so fast your head would spin. See, that's one thing where those idiots like to say, well, the kid's is an attorney. They don't have an attorney. It's a lie. It's a lie. Everything's a lie. They don't have an attorney. Nobody went to the hospital. Melissa didn't make up her mean games of pretend until the FBI case. And she did it. She made it up in front of the FBI in place. She did. Two of the guys that said they worked for the drug lord were laughing in Walmart 62. Melissa's going to help out us. You're kidding. No, I talked to her. She said she's willing to have the kids make up stuff for us. You're kidding. And I came up with them having them make up, leaned over and whispered, she's going to have them make up what? And started laughing. Then on Thanksgiving of 18, in a legally bugged house in an FBI case in front of the police and the FBI. They said that the house wasn't meant for grandma. It was meant for Auntie Shaw and Papa. Grandma needs to get out. Look down, they're all in a huddle. Go up, sit by Dixie and the baby. Go up to John. What's going on? I don't know. I told Melissa going through a divorce, going to be moving out. She'll just have the kids make up something because of the divorce and you're moving out. But no one can say anything bad about you. Don't worry about it. Just be made up because of the divorce and you're moving out. And she'll have her church people make up something too. But don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. It's like you shouldn't have said anything till it happened. But I did. And since nobody can say anything bad about you, don't worry about it. Clarified it with Dave within a few days. I've never hurt anyone. He said, Karen, you're good to the kids, you're good to the grandkids, you never hurt anyone. You're good to everyone, no matter who it is. Now, these people, because that Texas group that's involved, the guy is a U.S. military Iraqi translator, went into the dark web malware, Fentanyl King, U.S. training and military. He hacked the login and sold it. Where they talk about the king around me, he's a Fentanyl King. A Fentanyl King. And that's where we all work for the King for Texas. We are his men. Dave hired us. He's a drug lord. He also hired Judge Peters' group from Florida. They showed up at Faith Family Church in front of 3,000 people. They were the fake FBI agents that tortured me, the fake Portage County sheriffs. Michelle was with them. The scam of the retired Judge P, friends with Ludic, letting him get away with crime. The little white deranged Santa Claus saying that in front of 3,000 people. He was a scam. The real retired judge was retired Judge Peters from Florida, and they told everybody they were from Florida and they worked for Judge Peters. He was arrested by the FBI with 100 men in 22. And then the cartels played a game of paying for the harassment, and different cartels would be around me harassing it, and the police and the FBI got surveillance on all of them, confessing their crimes, where they worked, who they worked for, and then just had to follow them back. Took years to get all the surveillance together. And then the U.S. Marshals showed up January 20th, 23 in Worcester, announced they'd be taking care of them, and did a 800 people sweep, then a 200, then 300, and saved hundreds of people. The one guy was even dealing with Trakasami, smuggling oil into the U.S. I got all kinds of information out of him, and then proof, and then turned that in, even though they were already taping. I went ahead and signed it in, and they had enough proof where I got it out of that guy of bill of sale, money transfers, time and dates, when it was going to come back, where he was staying, when he was leaving, that he dealt with Trakasami before. They called down and asked about a shipment. It wasn't legitimate. They said they would do an investigation, and Trakasami and 50 people were arrested. I got a world terrorist arrested. They announced that August 7th, 25, that they have these people now taped admitting not only to drugging me and telling me to say it before, but they used hypnotic drugs so I wouldn't remember. And they said we looked her up. She did get the information leading to Trakasami's arrest. And they were laughing on top of everybody else that got arrested off this. They have told people she is part of a really big bust, and that my case is a nationwide human trafficking scam. They got a drug cartel out of Buffalo, New York, Michigan, and other places. Drug cartels out of California. The ones that were stupid enough to show up here, they blew the hell out of them. Get you information on Dave and the churches. My God, FBI agent John. I had no idea what you were leaving me in. Getting you information on an abusive husband and his freaky friends is one thing. Drug lords, human traffickers, terrorists. I'm not an FBI agent. I am not any kind of agent at all. I was a 51-year-old woman when this started that was scared for her life and her children's life, that called for help. You betrayed me. You told on me to Apostolic Church of Barberton. And you told them you knew I was being drug being raped and you didn't care. And you knew when you looked at the Vegas report that her father murdered her kid in vehicular homicide and I wasn't even there. And you knew, and I know that I can see your medical records, that you knew it was medical malpractice and fraud and medication errors. And you knew it took me 9 months to get well. You knew that. And you told them you didn't care because a stranger's liar calling me a faker and acting like a crazy call person. You admitted on a recorded line that you had met with them in your office and all those church people, and they already knew I called the FBI. And you knew they were trying to kill me because of stranger's lie. And you didn't arrest them. You made fun of me for some guy named Pete that I still never met. And how he was scamming me and something about some weird doctor that I didn't even know who he is. I still don't know. Made me beg for my life and then listed me informant with money and immunity. And you left me there while you got surveillance on all these people. You know, these people are so vile and so evil. Yesterday, I told Carl, I said, I want to look at them where they say, well, it's not like she didn't know she wasn't being raped. I thought it was the dirty well water giving me cancer. And I told the doctor that. And I thought it was infecting my personal area, just washing in it, causing the bruises, the throwing up, the headaches. And she said it's understandable if it would have been toxic. It was had iron in it. High levels of iron. That wouldn't do anything, she even said. But if it would have had E. coli, it would have been different. It would have. But it didn't have E. coli. It had iron in it. Wouldn't have done anything. And I'm blaming the dirty well water. Knew nothing. If I would have known people were raping me, I would have called 911. If it was consensual, they wouldn't have had to drug me. They wouldn't have had to break in my house and stab me with a date rape drug or wait till I left the room and I didn't know they were in the house and lace a drink. If a so-called where Pete taped her confessing, and I never met him, never talked to him. If it wasn't a drug and prank, why did they have to drug me? They walk around, oh, they just gave her a little Valium to relax her. No, they gave me hypnotic drugs and drugged me up and told me to say that. Horrible stuff. Dave and Melissa's bitch move where John already divorced her. Her and Dave wanted everything in their cult. Had those guys drug me up and tell me to say horrible stuff, and I found out that it wasn't the tape of Weird with Yourself supposed to be a shower scene in the other room or washing yourself. That's why nobody knew. That it's not even my body. The body ratio wasn't the same as somebody else showering and they put my head on it. And where I never seen anyone, never talked to anyone. It is illegal to question anybody under drugs. No coerced confession is admissible. It is considered pharmaceutical torture and it is 20 to 30 years. It is a federal crime to question somebody under drugs. If it wasn't such a big frame, why'd you have to drug me? Do you know these evil people have even said, oh, when she was drugged up, she said she liked being raped. No woman likes being raped and violated. If I liked it, why would you have to drug me? And then violate me under drugs because you did it because you're bastards. If it was an honest confession, why'd you have to drug me and tell me to say such evil stuff? People yelled at these people before. You used amnesia drugs when you drugged her up and told her to say that. She'll never remember. You can be as mean as you want to her, and she will never, ever remember. So they had to yell it at me. I ran and threw up. I was talking to Jim about it. He said, Karen, are you sure they're not playing you? I said, I never seen or talked to anybody. I never even had my neighbors in my home. I had family. I had repair guys and installation guys. Two silly officers on August 8 of 18 at midnight at a light in the security system. They came out and said it looked like an alien orb or an angry spirit. And told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They didn't want bothered. I never seen anybody. I never talked to anybody. I would take a drink out of a Diet Coke and the room would go dizzy and black. I'd wake up with injection marks. I had orange, lemon, grapefruit sized bruises all over me, throwing up, almost passing out, and severely infected. And I was blaming the well water. And I never seen or talked to anybody. He said, Karen, that would be horrible if they actually did that. Are you sure they're not playing you? I said, I was really bruised. I was really infected. I was really sick. I'd never seen anyone. And they're saying they were playing with piece of care that pure. See, that's why investigators say when you look at her, you talk to her. The only thing she knows, she never had anybody in her home. She never seen or talked to anybody. That's all she knows. See, that was where the uh, construction workers up in Akron, construction workers, they tried to pull their hate crime with them. They said, this is like a mean teenage stunt that went too far. Taking a video of somebody washing themselves in the shower and putting that in the other room and stocking tapes. Roofing a drink and telling somebody to say something horrible. That's like a mean teenage stunt that went too far. But these people were beating, raping her, and went way too far. They were human trafficking me under drugs. People have laughed. They told you say this. They told you say that. I used to run and vomit or have diarrhea right away. And then have to wipe my face. And after I'd vomit, walk out and face the bastards that defiled me. And then look at them and look off. And walk as they chanted and laughed at me. Then somebody come up and threaten my life or try to shoot me driving, go to sleep and wake up with giant bruises all over me. And they beat me in my stomach till they almost ruptured my intestines. I had a CT scan. They said you have large pouching in your intestines that can only be caused by being repeatedly hit hard in your stomach. They almost ruptured my intestines. They induced vomiting until I lost 70 pounds and my stomach shifted up underneath my ribs. I was beat by my ex-husband for not answering my phone and knocked into a wood railing. My rib cage is permanently damaged. I was stabbed in the neck, bashed in the back of the head. I have the size of a dent in ball peen hammer dent in my head. They said it should have killed me. I stutter now when I get upset. Now I got fast growing cataracts growing on my eyes caused by the pressure changing in my eyes. Where I went into the eye doctor, they said the only thing that causes this is severe eye injuries to both eyes at the same time. Did you ever have it? I said, no, I was bashed in the back of the head and knocked out for over 6 hours. Had migraines for years. My eyesight got really bad after that. He just looked at me. I went home and Googled it. Severe head injuries to the back of the head causes fast-growing cataracts to show up years later from the pressure being changed. I'm losing my eyesight because of that. I was raped and tortured by a fake FBI agent that was with Judge Peter's group at Faith Family Church, and they sold videos of it. To even children, and I'm made fun of for being raped and tortured. I was human trafficked. I'd wake up and men would be raping me in the room and go dark, and wake up the next morning covered in bruises and infected, barely making enough money to even survive in that apartment I was being human trafficked out of. And had to go to work half drugged up and raped, and men would show up and laugh at me that someone was taking a payoff to have me human trafficked. By strangers. I lived through hell. Had 6 stalkers come at me that they had to chase off. Had to hide on a shooting night of Christmas of 2018. My ex caught with the shooter. Some guy's supposed to be crippled over this, and 2 men are supposed to be dead. People were being human trafficked around me, and they were bragging they were the ones doing it around me. That's how bad this is. FBI, I would like my money. I need a medical card. A letter of thank you would be nice. My neighbor Keith went to Faith Family Church, seeing all these people. So did Tess. She still goes there. So did 3,000 people. And so did the FBI and the sheriff's there, and got information on these people that were bringing their crimes around me. He went and met with the U.S. Marshals, met with one of the men that were actually saved off my case, where they tell people she was part of a really big bust. They'll say it in front of people, the officers that watch me. You need to be proud of what you lived through. Because of what you lived through, we got all this information on these people, and you helped save a lot of lives. They rescued hundreds of people from the human traffickers. Where a couple Saturdays ago, I was in Maslin, a guy walked up, I had the police look you up. They said that you almost died to save everyone, and you deserve a hell of a lot more respect than what people give you. I was found innocent of everything, where on August 20, our August 22nd, in the evening, some men were talking. You know how dumb all this is? How dumb this is? They were supposed to have drugged her and told her to say all this horrible stuff. Her son, John, ran around telling everybody no one could say anything bad about her. Then asked her to watch his kids and be a reliable name years later on a court record so he could try to get custody of him, but she was working too many jobs. And she couldn't afford to quit him to help him. All her family defended her. And then they tried to frame Danny and Jen for the so-called tape of Weird with Yourself. It's supposed to be some kind of weird shower scene of somebody washing themselves with her head on their body. They photoshopped it and they knew nothing about it, nor will they have anything to do with it. And her whole family defended her. And they're laughing how they photoshopped everything and drugged her and told her to say it before. I never seen her talk to anybody. That's where it goes nowhere. My ex-daughter-in-law got caught dealing with the Fentanyl King's men and them admitting they were going to have the kids lie to help him get away with it. She got caught taped telling the kids to lie, and then on Thanksgiving of 18 that they made everything up. January 12th, 22, Officer John, I found out is a federal agent, and his name's not John, stopped men at the door where those kids get taped stating they made everything up. The Starr County Sheriffs laughed at some guy named Kurt if he just found out those kids are lying, he's slow, and that was May of 21. They even called her out, Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Maslin police, they're documenting games of pretend. March 23rd, 23, 2 federal agents come in Walmart 62. We told these people, stay out of this. We interviewed her whole family. She's never hurt anyone. Nobody's ever seen anything. It was just some woman thought she could make some money off of it. I want you to think about that. It's a big fraud scheme, like my friend from the prosecutor's office. It's a scam from Bill from the Freemasons and some guy named Pete. Dave hired on his own to run a drug scam. You know, where they run around telling people, oh, the kid's attorney already stole their money. 14th Amendment. No money, no assets can be seized by due process of the law. You have to be found guilty of something. And then 7th Amendment. No money, no assets can be taken but awarded through an impartial jury trial, not a judge. I've never been sued, prosecuted for anything. It's all a big scam. You can't just make up a lie on somebody. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no police reports. There's no pictures of injuries. Like the investigator said, it was sick. Karen's risking her life to get information on these people trying to save everybody's life. There are families sitting around laughing, making up stuff behind her back. Making up sick stuff. Sitting around laughing. They've told people everywhere. And then they tape those kids. When they show Thanksgiving of 18, where they said they made everything up, they were games of pretend, laughing. And John defended me totally. New light of what? It was just a fraud scheme. You can't just say something. You have to have proof of it. You have to have physical proof somebody was actually harmed. Emergency room reports, pictures of injuries, police reports, then physical evidence the person did it. There's nothing. They're just mean jokes. And where I was going to the doctor with real physical injuries and not knowing what happened to me, just didn't know who did it. See, even my kids' pediatrician is still open. Dr. Haben on Frank Avenue. They went and talked to him. There was never any sign of abuse on her children. They were very well taken care of. No signs of neglect and no signs of abuse. 18 years, 1984 to 2002, was their pediatrician. No sign of abuse, no sign of neglect, and they were very well taken care of. They were normal height, normal weight, look you in the eye, talk your ear off, smile, laughing chatterboxes. We're still like that. My kids were very well taken care of and very spoiled. I'm going to upload this.